is my yarn cart. I'm going to be trying to tackle it today and see if I can get it a little bit better organized. And I'm going to bring you guys with me. You guys couldn't really see the full extent of the yarn cart. So, yeah. Top shelf. Back up a little. Top shelf, middle, and the bottom. I mean, it doesn't look as bad on camera, but it's a mess. Yeah. So, I'm going to hopefully try and get it organized tonight. It's 7:28, and I have 42 minutes of camera on my phone, so I'm going to try and get through it in that length of time, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys some life lessons. I know you guys have been really enjoying the chat with me videos, and I really appreciate that. I honestly thought those were going to be something that I was doing just for myself, but I'm really glad to see you guys have been enjoying it. If you do have comment idea or topic ideas, please let me know, because I've only got, so many ideas of what to talk about. But today I'm going to be covering just some life lessons I've learned. I turned 24 recently, about a month ago probably, as you've seen this. My birthday was in March, and this will be coming out in April. And yeah, so I'm going to kind of just be talking about, just some things I've learned, and some just valuable lessons I think that are important for a lot of people to know, especially going into this age where your 20s are hard. You're in kind of a mix between feeling like you're an adult and feeling like you're still 15 years old. And so, yeah, I'm going to kind of just be sharing some life lessons I've learned with you guys and sitting down to tackle the mess. Okay, hey, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. This is going to be kind of a sit-down video, and I'm going through my yarn cart. I've already emptied it out. You can see some of it back there. Yeah, but I started organizing it. I've got my, in-progress skeins right here in the middle shelf, and then I think I'm going to do works in progress on the top, and the bottom maybe, I'm not really sure. What's in the bottom right now is a bag with one skein of yarn in it, and some leather tags that I need to figure something out with. But I kind of want to talk to you guys about some lessons I've learned in my life. They're not all, glitter and rainbows, but they're all, I think, important lessons to learn, and to remember that if you haven't learned them yet, you may learn them, or you might need to. Maybe you're finding this video because you need to. And, yeah, so I think one of the big things is learn new things. Is most of the time you're not going to regret learning how to do new things. I am so happy that I learned 2 or 3 years ago now to crochet. I learned to crochet from the internet, from YouTube videos, and it's been something that honestly I feel like has changed my life for the better. It's something that I can do when I'm, being idle, when I'm relaxing, when I'm traveling, when I'm, I can replace screen time for crocheting, and it's something that I feel like I feel better. I mean, it feels better to spend time doing something productive than it does to, scroll or just sit and do nothing. So finding new hobbies, it's great. It's nice to do. It feels productive. And when you finish a project and you can be like, I made this out of basically nothing. That's a great feeling. That I think would be one really good lesson. Number 2, I'm going to say, would be push yourself in situations. That's probably similar to number 1. But put yourself in situations that kind of push your comfort zone. I'm not the best at doing this, but it's something that I do, I try to do sometimes, and it can be, for one thing, it feels really good. It's you feel good about yourself when you push yourself past comfort, a boundary, or not a boundary, a comfort zone. And it can kind of lead to a lot of new opportunities. Yeah, like I said, it's not something I'm great at, but it's something that I like want to try and be better about. Yeah, I'm gonna say number 3 is when you can try to say nothing. Is holding your tongue is a very, very hard but very, very necessary virtue, and we seem to have forgotten that in our society. I think is we tend to say what we want and accept no repercussions. If you have a problem with what I say, then you're the problem, and that's not how it is. It can be really hard to. It can be hard to not say anything. I'm kind of in the same boat there. Is it can be hard not to speak when you're feeling something, but sometimes it's more important to keep the peace. And I know I'm not the best at it, but it's something I do kind of try to do when I can. Yeah. Let's see what else. You spend a lot more time regretting what you didn't do than what you did. Maybe not a lot more time, but it's a different type of regret when you regret something that you haven't done than when you regret something you have. If you say something that hurts someone, you can regret saying that and you can ask for forgiveness, but if you don't tell someone something, you can't go back and fix it, it's much harder to regret something that you haven't done than it is to regret something you have. And that's not saying, like, go be reckless, but, like, if you have a shot at something, take it. Yeah. Yeah. Then I'm gonna say, let's see what else I've learned a lot in the past several years. Being productive is a skill. That's another good one. Being productive is a skill, and it takes practice, and it takes time, and it takes hard work. It does really take hard work, even if it's just, I'm going to sit and I'm going to write a novel for 2 hours, like work on my dream novel for 2 hours. That takes work. It does. It takes hard work and dedication to be productive in your free time. I know I worked a full-time job for almost 3 years, by this point in my life, and I would be exhausted by the time I got off. I didn't want to do housework or crochet. I would have to make myself crochet some days, and I wasn't good at that either. But since I've spent more time actually focusing on crochet, I've gotten so much faster. My skills have gotten better. I've been able to write a pattern, and like, you do see improvement when you put effort into things. I know that's kind of goes without saying, but sometimes you need a reminder. So yeah, being productive is hard work, and it is a skill, and it is a skill that needs practice. You need to, it can be really, really hard to stick to a routine on your own, especially when you're in this stage of life. I feel like you could be, if you're in your early 20s, you could have been, still figuring things out after high school. If you're, 19, you're figuring out, what do I do with this time? Because I don't have a job yet. I'm not going to college yet. What are you doing with your time? If you're in your 20s, maybe you just graduated from college and you're like, what am I doing with all of my time right now? Try to use it wisely, because it is a gift to have free time. It is. And you want to be someone who's productive with it. I know for me, I want to be someone that people say, like, I don't know how she gets all that done. I want to be someone that people look to and know, what I say what I say I'm going to do, I'm going to do. And it's going to get done well. It's going to get done in a timely manner. It's going to get done right. And for me, that's something really important, I think. I'm going to say another one is put yourself out there. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And sometimes, nothing will come out of it. Sometimes you'll put yourself out there for 100 job interviews and not one will answer. But sometimes the one you do will. And it'll be, there'll be great results. I'm going to say the next one is find and choose your people and make choices that reflect that you're choosing them, if that makes sense. If you've read Jenny Allen's, it might have been Find Your People, that she talks about how they lived in a town far away from friends and family, and when she decided, like, hey, we need our people, we need to find, like, our people, they moved back to be closer to them. And the thing is some people choose us, and some people we have to choose. And that can be a really hard kind of transition in your early 20s, even, mid to late 20s, even into adulthood. It can be really, really hard to find people. For some reason, it seems so much easier when we're in high school and we can chat about whatever. Here's the thing. Adults talk about it all too. We all say, hey, what you doing? What are you up to? What'd you eat for dinner? You can have the same sorts of conversations no matter how old you get, basically. You might not talk about things like Barbie toys or, things that you would have when you were little. But you can still find, you can still have conversations pretty much the same with adults. And there's a basket of Sharpies on my crochet cart. It makes sense in one, it makes a little bit of sense because it's also a hobby. This is a hobby cart. But, anyway, yeah, so seizing your time and making a point to let people know that you care for them and that you're there for them and that you choose to be their person. Honestly, having someone can go a really, really, really long way. It can give people hope, having someone that they know is there for them. And yeah, just finding ways to show people that you're there and that you choose them is really important, I think. For me, I didn't have a whole lot of people up until recently, and I had some people who found me more than I found them, and it's been one of the best experiences of my life. It's been amazing having people, and sometimes we talk about deep things, and sometimes we talk about just anything and light, and we talk about our favorite movies, and we make plans that may or may not ever happen, and that's the best kind of friendship you can have, I think, where it's two-sided and it's everyone kind of cares for each other in the same, you want to all be together. And if that made any sense, I'm trying to make sense, but it's hard to make sense. But yeah, it can be, life can be difficult, especially when you feel like you're alone, and sometimes it can feel like it's more convenient to not have people. Honestly, it can be. You don't have to worry about, oh, am I going to make it to this thing on time? Am I going to have time to go and do this on top of all my other responsibilities? It can be hard, but it is so, so worth it at the end. It is. And people might hurt you, but the pain they cause you helps you to grow in who you are. It does. Yeah, it helps. Every situation you're in, every relationship you're in, everyone you encounter changes you in one way or another. And you kind of get to choose. Not even kind of, you get to choose if it impacts you for the better or for the worse. And so it can be really easy to let people impact you for the worst, but you can choose to find them for the best. I'm going to say another one that it's something I learned a couple years ago, and I'm not always the best at it, but it's something that did leave a lasting impact on me when I learned it, was choose joy. When you choose to be happy, it can change so many things for you. It can change your outlook on life. It can change so much. And it is a lot of, it can be really hard sometimes. Choosing to be happy, or even if you can't be happy, you can be joyful. it can be really, really hard. And like I said, I'm not the best at this. I'm in a season where I haven't done the best job at doing that. But it can be a game changer for sure to choose to be optimistic, to choose to believe that the good is going to happen. Yeah, it can be really, really helpful. I'm going to say another one is having a prayer journal. It was something I was really, really good about last summer, and I'm kind of going through just a bunch of lessons I've learned through my life. These aren't things that might apply to me in my everyday life, but they're things that are important for the most part wherever you are in life, I think. Having a prayer journal between you and God, for me, it felt so much stronger to be able to write my prayers. And it's something that I think helped to get me through a really tough time. So I think finding some way to kind of express your prayers to God, even if it's not writing, maybe you're going to type it on your computer, maybe you just want to, maybe you want to sing, whatever you want to do, find a way to help kind of make your prayers more solid, I think. Not solid. More, I don't know, it kind of made them more meaningful to me, I feel like. Yeah. Let's see what else. Find free classes whenever possible. That might be a silly one, but there's so many free resources online. I'm learning right now, I'm doing a Christian or biblical counseling course that I found for free. And having free classes like that, like you're learning and you're improving yourself for nothing more than a little bit of your time. That can be super, super handy. Finding as many resources as you can really is great. You feel connected. You find that you have so many answers when you need, if you need to find a resource or something like that, it can be a lot easier to find when you have, when you're connected to things like that. That's so wonderful. Yeah, it can be really, really great. I'm going to say too, try to find something that you love doing and either make it a side hustle if possible, or if you can, turn it into your career. It's wonderful, and you want to work to live. You don't want to live to work. But that being said, you're supposed to, as a Christian, you should put your 100% into everything that you do. And that can be really, really hard sometimes. And I don't want any of this to come off. I'm realizing how I'm kind of rambling, and I don't want any of this to come off like I'm, great at all of these things. I'm not. I still struggle with all of this stuff, and it can be really, really hard to be disciplined. But I want to spend my 24th year wisely. I want to spend it, being a productive person, working on myself, being a healthy person, being a wise person, being someone who works hard and makes an impact on people, makes a lasting impact on people, and spends her time doing things that bring her joy. I want to be that for my 24th year of my life and going forward. I want to do that as best as I can. And so I don't want any of this to come across as preachy or, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. But I do want it to be helpful to someone out there and inspiring. So, yeah. Let's see what else. Something else I've had to learn is that sometimes it can be good for you to always say yes to things, to always, go do all the things. But sometimes it can be more beneficial if you stay home, if you say no. Boundaries are something I have kind of needed to look into a little more recently, just because it's something that I've never really been good at. I haven't had a ton of need for them, I guess, in my life. I've been fortunate. I've had a lot of good people and I haven't needed boundaries with people, but even in your time, even if you take people out of the, I guess you can't really say take people out of the equation, but like, even if you have a spot where it's not like, oh, this is a person who is not good for me, I need boundary. If it's, I cannot say yes to anything else. I'm not very good at that. And so finding some, trying to weigh in my head sometimes, okay, maybe this would be fun for me to go out, but I need to stay home. I need to get stuff done while I'm the only one here. Weighing that can be helpful, and it can be hard to do because sometimes you do, want to go out or you want to do this or that, but finding a good way to kind of balance that in your head so that you can be the best version of yourself can be really helpful. Yeah, I don't know what number I'm at this point, but let's see what else. Let's see. I've got kind of an update. I'm running into mountains of yarn on the floor as I try to push my cart forward. Anyway, second shelf is pretty much full of working skeins. I'm kind of going between putting like these balls that I'm not exactly using right now up on the top shelf and just kind of putting them over here on the side. This part of my couch opens up and I keep a bunch of yarn in there too. So I may put some of it back. I also need to kind of figure out what to do, like where to store my craft fair prep. Because like I don't want to forget about this, but I also don't want it to get squished and wrinkled and gross from just if something gets spilled on it or whatever. So I'm kind of figuring that out. I've got flowers. Got all sorts of stuff that is just kind of, it's great that it's here, but it doesn't need to be here right now. Yeah. So, something else I've learned that's, I think, really valuable and is kind of gone, it's not something a lot of people do anymore, I think, is asking questions. Ask your family, to tell you their history. Ask what people did, talk to people. We live in a society that we stare at our phones. We do it constantly, and like, your phones are, they're meant to be a tool. They are not meant to be your entire social life. And yeah, I'm bad about using my phone too. Like, I live a distance away from my friends. I spend a good bit of time talking to my friends on my phone. So, I mean, I get that. The draw is there. And I think we check our phones more often than we realize. For me, I know my computer too, I went a few days without my computer this past week, where I left it somewhere and I just needed to get it back. It needed to download, and I needed to leave it somewhere so that I could download. And I realized in those days how often I go to try and check my computer. And it was disappointing and also sad. But it can be kind of being able to talk to people is a skill, I think. It's a skill to be able to have a conversation, have a respectful conversation where you ask questions and you learn, and it can be rewarding, honestly. It can be really, really helpful to be able to just know, like, where your family came from, what your grandparents did for fun in the summer, it can be so helpful to know all of that stuff, and hearing it is interesting. Like, it's really, really cool, I think, and we're destined to repeat our history if we don't learn it, so we even need to learn the bad parts, honestly, of our history, because we don't want to repeat the things that have happened in the past. I'm going to say another thing. I feel like I kind of just left that off at a weird spot, but I'm going to say another one is don't be afraid to stand up for your beliefs. If there's something that you believe is true, be able to have a conversation about it in a respectful manner where you can explain your point. Research your topic. be prepared with questions. A good one would be like, check out Ray Comfort and Living Waters on YouTube. He's an apologist, and like he does a really great job answering questions. So check him out if it's something like your faith that you want to be able to discuss. But be able to have a conversation about your beliefs. Don't back down from them and make them public. For me, if I'm on my channel and someone says, hey, what is your religion? I'm doing a poor job of being a Christian, because you should know from every, most major interaction with me, you should know what I believe. And if that doesn't come out in words, that should come out by actions, by, like how I carry myself, that should all come about. And so if I haven't done that, I feel like that's a fail for me. I'm going to say also, let's see. It can be hard to think about. I tried making a list before, but I just couldn't really come up with a whole lot of things, and I decided to just kind of wing it. I showed this in a short a couple weeks ago now. It's a little bouquet for a little ballerina friend I have. I added a bunny since the short I made, and I wrapped it in this thick fluffy yarn I had left over from a blanket I finger knit. So hopefully it won't, the loop, I bent it under here, so hopefully it won't like poke her or anything. But I hope she really likes that. I think that's going to be fun to give to her. Yeah. What else? Be available for people, I think. Even if you're, if there's a distance between you, let people know that you're there for them. You can always be there for words, for support, for any of that, and it does really make a difference in people's lives. Also, people want you to be vulnerable with them. Why would I tell you something I'm going through if I have no idea what you're going through, if that makes sense, Yeah, it can be hard to be vulnerable to people sometimes, especially if you've been like hurt in the past. Like, it can be really hard to want to be vulnerable. Yeah, don't mind the massive ball of yarn. This is bigger than my head. This was a birthday gift from a couple weeks ago. Hey, couldn't find this hook the other day. And there's a video coming out about it. But it can be really, really helpful to be vulnerable with people. I know there are people in my life that have been extremely vulnerable with, and that has brought about like a lot of change in my life for the better. We're not meant to do this life alone. We just aren't. And as tempting as it can be to try, it doesn't usually work out well when we do things alone. So, yeah. Let's see what else. Another set of flowers. I need to try and finish this bouquet this week, actually, if I can. Because I need it for this weekend for a party. Yeah, so hopefully they like that. I'm going to say another one is, let's see. Like I said, it can be kind of hard to think of just the right topics, just kind of on the spot. Being organized is nice. That's a good lesson, and that is something that I work on. I try to work on being organized. I'm not, just by nature, I'm a little bit of a chaotic person. If you haven't been able to tell from my chatty videos where I'm in 20 different directions. It's very easy to go a whole lot of different places at one time for me. So, but being organized is super nice, and it is very hard to maintain. I feel like no one really talks about that as, oh, I'm going to organize my closet today. yeah, but by the end of next week, if it's a mess again, then how good of a job was it organized? Yeah, so, and then I'm going to say one last thing is be careful what you let into your life. I feel like especially when it comes to, like, media and things like that, our world has gotten very, very dark. And you have to be careful with what you're allowing to play over your mind, over your ears, over your heart. You have to be really careful, and so much has hidden meanings, hidden messages that, like, we have to think about, wait a minute, does that really mean that? It can be really difficult. So, yeah, finding a way to protect yourself, and I believe Paul even says we can't block everything out. We just can't. We can't, block everything out and still be in the world. But we can try and kind of pick our battles and do whatever we can to, still reach people. That can be really, really hard to balance. And, yeah, I think, yeah, it can be a really tricky thing, especially when so much stuff has so many hints of things in it nowadays. Whether it's, it can be all sorts of things. It's just how it is, and it can be really, really hard and really disappointing. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to, like, include. Oh yeah, a good one is people deserve more credit than we give them all too often. I think is we tend to think that, like, we can't talk to so and so because they won't understand, or anything like that. Reality is, if you have a safe person to talk to, then you can probably tell them whatever it is, anything. And, like, it can be so, so helpful to talk your feelings out, to let someone in on what you're going through, and give them enough credit to know that they're a safe person. If they've proven to you they're safe time and time and time again, then, like, they're a safe person, and they deserve to be trusted as that, but you deserve to be able to have them as a safe person. And you can't do that if you don't give them the credit that they deserve for being a safe person, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think, yeah. Maybe one last thing would be take your friends' advice, if that makes sense. Even little things. Something that was super, super special to me is I told my friends about my favorite coffee place ever, and they went and tried it, and now we all talk about it. And that was, like, one of the best things that has happened to me in a friendship, is that, like, someone took, little, like, even a little bitty piece of advice, someone took that and thought, hey, you know what, I thought of her, I'm gonna go try this. And it was just really special to me. So take your friend's advice and do something little and tell them about it, and it, like, odds are it will make them feel super special. Yeah, it's something really exciting to me. Yeah, so this is almost, I say almost, there's a little more yarn here still, but a lot of this is probably going to go in I shouldn't be flinging that. A lot of this is probably going to go put away in here because A, it's a mess, and B, I just don't need all of that. Let me turn this so you guys can see it a little. Yeah, I don't need all of that out at all times. I got the big hunk of yarn here. I've got just some little skeins that are working here. Not actively working, but things that, like, I might want out, or I just don't want to put away right now. Like, I don't want to put them back in the couch right now. I've got working skeins, and then this yellow one, I'm not really specifically working with it right now, but it's a good color. It's a good summer color, and I should keep it out. I've got 2 skeins in here that are for a upcoming summer project I'm going to make. Yeah. So I'm going to hopefully figure out how to put my needles and all that in here. Figure out how to store my in-progress projects for my craft fair. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys sitting and listening to me yap. I hope that everything came out, you know, the way I meant it to come out. I'm kind of worried it came out weird, but I'm going to trust that this is going to whoever needs to hear it, and I hope it, you know, finds you well. If you didn't know, Jesus loves you so, so, so much, and I love and appreciate that you are here. Thank you. It really does make my day getting to respond to comments. So thank you so, so much for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me, even while I'm like decluttering this cart. Not even decluttering. I didn't get rid of most of it. I probably should get rid of the disaster that is this. This is all, pretty much all yarn scraps, or like there's a couple of small like leftover chunks in there, but yeah, this started as what I was keeping my needles in. So I probably need to figure out how to take care of that. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here. If you guys do want to see more of these chatty videos, please let me know and give me ideas of topics. Coming up soon, it may actually already be out at this point, I have a video or a post coming up letting you guys like tell me what you want to talk about. Please, please, please comment on that if you have ideas. Even if you don't, if you have just a random question, please let me know. I'm happy to spend a video talking about whatever. Yeah, these are really, really fun to make, and I kind of get to, I feel like, get a lot off of my chest, even if it's not like serious or deep or anything like that. I feel like it can be therapeutic for me. So yeah, I'm gonna actually say one bonus lesson. Actually, learn the value of rest and drink water. Both things I'm very bad at, both things that I have learned the hard way I need to be better at. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say, honestly. Learn all of the things. Adulting is hard. Don't be too hard on yourself if you don't have it all down yet, and that's me preaching to preaching to myself too, is I need to be a little more confident in who I am in Christ, and that He has me here for a reason. Yeah. And I'm kind of going in circles here, but one last thing, don't be afraid, or don't avoid telling people you love them, because reality is people need to know that, and it's a big deal when people hear that. My camera cut out. Tell your friends you love them. Tell your people you love them. Tell your parents. Tell your siblings. Tell everyone that you care about that you love them. Make sure they know. And like I said, I hope you know that Jesus loves you so, so much. And you are so special. And I really appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for watching again. And I hope to see you later. Bye.